Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I am driving the Hyundai Creta Turbo Petrol. Guys, I usually talk about the happenings of cars and bikes and often about accessories too. But there's one thing I almost never talk about: motor insurance. No surprises, insurance is hardly as interesting as a top of the line SUV or bike. But I recently found out about a motor policy that totally blew my mind. Switch from Edelweiss General Insurance. Believe it or not, you can actually switch the policy on when you want your vehicle to be covered and switch it off when you don't. You only pay the premium when your policy is on, which makes so much sense, right? When our vehicles are safely parked and we aren't driving them, what are we paying for? You must be thinking, how is this possible? How does it work? Technology, dosto. This policy has no paper or documents. It's on an app. Using this app, you can switch your cover on and off. And if you thought that was cool, check this out. You can cover up to 3 vehicles on the same policy. You just have to choose on the app which vehicle you want covered. For example, if you drive a car to work and like biking on the weekend, you can actually program the app so that the car is covered from Monday to Friday and your bike on Saturday and Sunday. Going out of town for a few days and leaving your vehicle behind, just switch the cover off and save money. You don't even have to pay the entire premium at one go. It's charged to your account every month. Best of all, I've heard this company Edelweiss General Insurance is really great with service and claims. They say, take us for granted to be there when you need us. Well, I know which motor policy I'm going to switch to.
You could try to tie me down, you could try to wear me out. Put me out in the rain, just gas on a flame. And you can't control what you can't control. You could try to tame the wild, you could try to blame this child. Try to medicate me, call it ADHD. But you can't control what you can't control. Ooh, don't you know that you can't tame a cageless soul? Well, you got to let it go. This kind of love is a wild animal. And you can't tame a cageless soul.
Back to the vlog. First and foremost, we are going to open the engine bay of this Creta Turbo Petrol. And there, as you can see, is the 1.4 liter turbo GDI motor. Engine bay actually looks quite empty and we've got insulation right there as well. Now the design, like I've always said, looks polarizing. Either you will like it or you will hate it, but it definitely grows on you with time. How do you identify the turbo petrol from the regular version of the Creta, the normal petrol or the diesel? Well, it says DCT right there. Unfortunately, the wheels don't look that nice because they don't get the dual tone treatment, and it was very awkward for me to look at this car after looking at the regular SXO variant of the diesel, which gets dual tone treatment, because it kind of looks bland right now somehow. So I don't know why they have omitted that. Anyways, 215 60 17 are the size of the tires. This color actually looks nice. It's sort of a greenish color, and you know what, it doesn't get all LED lights because the fog lights happen to be halogens. Indicators are placed down there, and this is actually the unit for the headlight, and this is the DRL. Massive grille up front, chrome treatment, you know, surrounding the grille as well. And you know, this is finished in black, so this is not painted, just for that rough appeal, or maybe you can even call it cost cutting. The car's size has increased dramatically, so it does have more presence on the road for sure. However, the design language is not something which appeals to everybody as such. That said, I love the fact that they have played a lot with the colors to reduce the overall visual bulk. So obviously black colored B pillar, and the C pillar is finished with silver, and this line actually runs across. You've got roof rails as well, and you've got a shark fin antenna too. Meanwhile, indicators on the outside rear view mirrors, and there is the request sensor, which is only on the driver's side, not on the co-driver's side. They try to match the rear with the front, and it also looks decently nice because you see the lights, they're well done. But again, to reduce the visual bulk, you've got this black, piano black finishing align with the stop lamp, the center stop lamp right in between. And at the rear, immediate way to identify this is the turbo variant is obviously to read turbo written right there, and it's got these dual exhaust as well. Meanwhile, you know, sort of a skid plate. Again, it's fake AF, never mind. The overall design of the car is something which will grow on you with time. But today we're going to focus mainly on the turbo petrol variant because I've already reviewed the regular variant, so we're not going to get much inside in terms of the interior aspects. but the boot size is decent enough because now the boot is bigger by 33 liters, 433 liters to be precise. However, the spare wheel isn't an alloy, and I have to lift this up. Yeah, spare wheel isn't an alloy, but you know what, the tire size is also smaller somehow, 215 65 16s. So yes, you can call it cost cutting, but I think it is also to do with the fact that the full size tire will not fit inside. I love the fact that you know, there's good amount of space on offer at the rear. There's definitely good amount of space. There are sun blinds for the rear passengers as well. Door pockets are large enough. The floor is almost flat, and the cabin being wider can accommodate 3 people, but you know, the middle person is going to get a little bit of this as well. Meanwhile, we've got twin cup holders. I think there was a dog inside this car, that's why there's a lot of fur and all this flying. Twin cup holders. Recline angle of the seat is also nice, and obviously you can move the recline angle, so yeah, there you can change that as well, and you can recline the seat in 60/40 to improve the boot carrying capacity. It also gets these amazing pillows with Creta written right there, and a massive panoramic roof. Once inside, you remember one thing, okay, getting in and out is very easy. There's good amount of knee room and leg room on offer, and there's a magazine holder here as well. You can keep your phone there. There's a USB charging socket, and the AC vents get this reddish finish on the Turbo Petrol. Meanwhile, you get this sort of a chrome finish on the regular version. So you see, the interior actually looks very nice because it's sporty now because of the black treatment on offer, but it also highlights the shiny parts as well as the hard plastics on offer. So there's a light placement along with a handle, and there is no hook as such. So there's good amount of space on the parcel shelf too. Meanwhile, the seats are really nice, comfortable, good amount of back support on offer, and this is actually for the air purifier. In terms of features, the car is loaded to the T and more. Lot of features on offer. You've got a reverse parking camera, you've got rear parking sensors, and you've also got a massive panoramic roof. You've got the connected car tech, which has 50 features of voice commands, and all you have to say is hello Blue Link. It will get up, it can open a sunroof, it can give you a lot of information about cricket, finance, and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, front door pockets are large enough. These are the controls for the outside rear view mirrors. Actually, this is for the power window control. It gets a Bose sound system, which is really nice. Front seats also very comfortable, very nice. Electric adjust for the driver, and because this is the automatic, only 2 pedals, and there's a dead pedal there as well. This is the engine start button. This is for traction control. It's got stability control as well, and then this particular version, the Turbo, also has some unique features like drive modes as well as terrain modes, which are also pretty cool. Now, you might say that the steering wheel has come from an Audi, and it has. It's a flat bottom, the design is similar to that, but that's not the only thing which might have come from an Audi. Even the gear lever looks very Audi-ish, if I may. This is actually the control for the drive modes and the terrain modes. This is the electric parking brake, auto hold function. Again, these are exclusive features which are not actually there in the Kia Seltos. Obviously, you get ventilated seats, and there is good amount of space on offer here to keep your cups. Below the front center armrest, there's space as well. Meanwhile, let's just turn on the vehicle straight away. Let me tell you, this cluster spins all the way, looks kind of cool, and those graphics also very nice. Okay, wipers work really well. Here, let's use the wipers. Good amount of spray on offer from the wipers for sure. Okay, air conditioning making a lot of noise. Climate control air conditioning, turn off the air conditioning. You see this thing, the design of the gear lever is also very nice. It's like aircraft style without a doubt, and overall quality of the car is actually pretty good. Only thing is, so many hard plastics are there inside this vehicle, like plenty of hard plastics. So cost cutting has been done there. It gets blue ambient lighting, unlike the Seltos, which gets multiple colors for the ambient lighting. It gets a cool glove box as well, storage space here. This is a wireless charging pad, USB slot, another USB slot, and a 12-volt charging socket too. So this is actually a 10.25 inch screen. It's very nice, it's very fluid. Here is the air purifier. Let's just turn it on, and it's turned on, and there are 3 modes for the same as well. So it's going to tell you what is the air quality, and then it just improves the overall air quality inside the car. And it says perfume function too. So yes, the auto healthy air works pretty nicely, and that's a feature which almost every car should be giving right now. There's a compass, not the Jeep kind. It's got Android Auto, it's got Apple CarPlay. It gets a brilliant reverse camera too. Here we are into reverse. That is a reverse parking camera, and I love the fact that the guidelines are adaptive. But you know, the parking sensors which show the car here, that also works really cool, because you know, you can see the car's rear. It gives you a good idea when you're reversing for sure, without a doubt. I love the fact that the ventilated seats are super cool on this car, really functional as well. Voice commands are there. The steering mounted paddle shifters are nice. These are actually the controls for the audio system. These are the controls for the cruise control, as well as the multi-information display there. You see there's a compass, there's a tire pressure monitoring system, tells you fuel economy. Now this is a 7-inch digital screen here for the instrument cluster. Meanwhile, it's analog for the fuel meter as well as the temperature meter and the tachometer as well. Now it looks wide enough. It actually looks wider than the Kia Seltos, although in China you get a 12.3-inch fully digital instrument cluster, and this being a 10.25 horizontal layout is nice. It's similar to the Seltos, but in China you get a vertical 10.4-inch one, which kind of makes it look like a Tesla car. But we don't get front parking sensors, we don't get front parking camera, we don't get 360-degree parking camera, we don't get a heads-up display either. All of these features are actually available in the Kia Seltos. Now you've got this red finishing on the AC vent just for that sporty appeal, unlike in the case of the diesel or other variants which actually get a dual tone treatment, wherein less obvious of the hard plastics. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror. There's a sunglass holder there where I've actually put sunglasses, and I love the placement of the lights because they're very easy to use. Just touch them and they're kind of wide, but there's no mirror here, which is cost cutting. There is a mirror on that side but no light, and the sunroof is really very nice. Let's try one thing. Hello Blue Link. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Open sunroof.
Opening the sunroof.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So this massive sunroof is amazing because it brings in a lot of airy feeling inside the cabin for sure. But the only thing is, if you want to just open the sun blind, that's a little difficult because then you have to keep pressing buttons here and there. There's no one dedicated button just to open the sun blind. It's a little jugadu. So whenever you want to open it, you keep you open this, then you close that, and just somewhere midway you will be able to manage the same. So like I was telling you, plenty of features on offer. Let's quickly play an audio right away, which means we're going to play radio. Audio quality is absolutely brilliant. You've got navigation here as well. I mean, everything right from the maps and everything works brilliantly well on this car. Very sleek, and see the interface as well. They've done a fab job with the infotainment system on this car. Audio quality is great, plenty of features, regular bits which you would like. Wipers, like I already showed you, they work brilliantly well on this car. And steering is good to hold. The horn is loud and nice, and you can obviously change the color of the instrument cluster as well, depending on the drive mode. So when you change the drive modes, the color also changes, and you can obviously get into the traction modes too. So there's snow, there's mud, and there is sand as well. But this is a front wheel drive car. It's a little bit more usable when you go off the road. Not really off the road as such, but on bad terrain. That said, Hyundai should have offered some soft touch plastics on the dashboard. That would have been a real nice touch. Meanwhile, those features present in the Seltos should have been offered in the Creta as well. And the one feature which I really miss is the fact that the steering can only be adjusted for height, not for reach, which is there in the Seltos. Although the seat belt can be adjusted for height, this car's got 6 airbags, plenty of safety tech too, and the seats are super comfortable, artificial leather. Let's get driving right away. Alright, we're all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, getting into sport for the gearbox, and changing the drive mode to sport as well. Traction control off, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Motor doesn't really rev, 2000 RPM. Wipers need to be turned on as well. And we are off. As you can see, performance is actually very slick because this is the fastest version of the new Hyundai Creta, because this one produces the most power. It's a 1.4 liter TGDI motor. T stands for turbo, GDI stands for gasoline direct injection, and the performance is a world apart here. You know why? Because it just feels so punchy and it's always ready to push you ahead, because it produces 140 horsepower. Meanwhile, the torque output is a significant 242 Newton meters, yet it's 8 Newton meters lesser than the diesel version of the Creta. But both these versions, both the diesel as well as the turbo petrol, make the peak torque at an identical 1500 RPM. Meanwhile, the diesel's peak torque actually gets over at 2750 RPM. This one goes further till 3200 RPM. So it's a wider peak torque band. But that's not the highlight here. It's a petrol engine, which means it redlines above 6500 RPM. And when it redlines so much higher, obviously it uses lesser gear to reach the ton. This is almost 1.5 seconds faster than the diesel, which is considerably fast here. Trust me on this. This reaches 0 to 100 km per hour in just 10 seconds, slightly above 10 seconds, which is brutally quick. And this car is so refined, it's so smooth, it's unbelievably smooth. This engine is so nice, I love it. And the best thing here is the fact that it only gets vocal when you push it hard and fast into the top end in a good way. I actually like the way it makes this sound as well. So anyways, braking performance is also very strong because we have got all-wheel discs, and no longer do you get that pulsating feeling which was there in the old Creta. And something's fallen behind. Kya gira?
my bag.
Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, and yeah, some amount of wheel spin on offer, but the transmission gets quite jerky. Yeah, in sport mode, obviously you feel that enthusiasm, but you know, the gearbox is very good and fast with shifts. It's so fast that actually makes the difference in making this car much faster than the diesel, because I always believe diesel cars are super fast because of the low end torque which they produce, but this car is also faster because of the gear shift. The DCT is really fast. The 7-speed DCT is obviously faster than a manual gearbox. It's obviously faster than the torque converter which is also available in the diesel. So all this obviously makes a big fat difference in the Creta as well. But the real highlight here is paddle shifter. So obviously I can use the Triptronic function for shifting gears here, downshifting. That's also an option. But then I can also use the paddle shifters, which make a big difference. Again, a very unique feature in this car about paddle shifters. Here, response is good, nice, and the punch. Here we go. Yes, TGDI kicked in, yo. And it puts a big smile on your face as well. But nothing like the City VTEC. Anyways, we are going to go left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and we're going to do manual shifts. But there's nothing known as manual shifts here. Why? Simply for the fact that it's not going to hold on to a gear no matter how much you want it to. And while I've turned off the traction control, this gearbox is so freaking upsetting because it keeps changing on its own when it realizes there's no traction. It's upshifting at 3000 RPM just because it feels that there's no traction on offer. Boss, why don't you work independently with the traction control system? Why are you intervening? You don't need to intervene. That's not the smartest thing to do. Because in first gear, every time I'm launching, it's like bogging down at 3000 RPM, upshifting as well. And then again, the problem is the transmission does feel a little jerky, a lot jerky as such at lower speeds. Although compared to the Seltos, actually it's the same engine transmission option as the Seltos, but in comparison, obviously it uses a newer software, so that little smoothness is there, little urgency is there, but still that jerkiness is there, which you don't find actually in European cars. Obviously, Hyundai is still yet to nail its DCT, rather the Hyundai Kia group still needs to nail its DCT transmission, but you know what? It's still a whole lot of fun. Coming through the corners, it feels more confident than before, but really, it's not, you know, it's kind of soggy and body roll is plenty. It rolls quite a bit. Compared to the diesel, I find the roll to be even more. And I'll tell you why. Because diesel engine is obviously heavier at the front. That's why they stiffen the suspension, and the suspension is already on the softer side. This petrol is even further soft, which is good for ride quality, because even on these bumps and expansion joints, you don't feel much. Everything is ironed out beautifully well. But that doesn't change the fact that there's a lot of body roll on offer, especially on the corners. It's not a car you would love to push. And further making things difficult, or rather easy as well, is the light steering. The steering is so light, it is absolutely lifeless and doesn't, okay, there's some beat spin, doesn't really weigh up well either. But then it is a convenient car to drive and it excels in that sense. But steering feedback, well, that could have been dramatically better. Unfortunately, that is not the case here. The steering just does not inspire confidence. It's better than before without a doubt, and the chassis is on the stiffer side, the suspension is on the softer side, so overall high speed stability is also better and bounciness has been reduced as well. Ye kutta kyun chala raha hai gaadi?
Oh, that's funny.
Whatever, it's so funny. Yeah, you know what? It actually gets confused with downshift. That's a slight problem, especially, you know, it fumbles there. But once you're pushing it higher in the rev range, there's no confusion at all. It knows its stuff. It knows when it wants to do an upshift, when it wants to do a downshift. The 7-speed box, and I believe the heating issue has also been ironed to a great extent as well. Downshifting, well, the problem is it doesn't give you manual control of things. No matter how many times I downshift or upshift, it will do what it wants to do, depending on the power band of the gearbox or the gear ratios, which means that it will upshift and it will not, you know, hold on to a gear no matter how hard you try. So that manual mode is not there completely as such in the new Hyundai Creta. Well, that would have been better, because even AMT cars from Maruti Suzuki let you hold on to a gear and enjoy the red line. Now, in terms of fuel consumption, this car is more fuel efficient than the Kia Seltos for sure. Marginally, even though the engines are the same, I don't understand how that works. I think probably it's to do with the tuning or the ECU update given to this particular car to ensure that, you know, heating issue has been resolved, shifts are smoother, faster, jerkiness is reduced, but you still face some of that to a certain extent here. Why are you upshifting between 5 to 6000 RPM? Take me all the way till 6000 RPM plus. That's where I will really enjoy this car. I like the sound, I like the NVH, I love the performance of this car. This is an absolute monster in the straight line, but yet I do miss a manual transmission. A manual transmission would help you extract the very best out of this engine, because the engine is fab. Without a doubt, this engine is fab. And with a manual, well, no heating issues, No jerkiness issues, because the jerkiness all depends on your left leg, depending on how you shift, and your left hand, which actually gives you a lot of control on how the car behaves. Certainly a manual should have been offered by Hyundai. Anyways, that said, fuel economy is somewhere between 7 to 11 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style. Now because this is a turbocharged motor, the more you rev it, the more it rewards you, and then obviously it de-rewards you by drinking a lot of fuel as well. Performance from a turbocharged engine is always so exciting. The good part is you really don't need to rev it all the way till the red line, although I'm doing it right now just for demonstration purpose. You don't need to do it. You know why? Because the mid-range is really very nice. The low end is also nice. Turbo lag is well contained. So car is at home in the city and brilliant on the highway as well. We're going to shift modes right now. So here I'm going to get into eco mode. Now the eco mode, I can feel the performance is dull. I can feel that someone has put a brick on the accelerator pedal, and that's why, you know, it's not accelerating with the same enthusiasm I used to do before. But you see the cluster looks really rad right now because only the speed range in which you're driving, that is glowing at the moment. Now in eco mode, obviously it's a different map altogether. It's not going to be producing 140 horsepower and 242 newton meters of torque for sure. But you know what? It also changes the AC performance as well as the amount of output it's giving, thereby increasing the fuel economy. But the eco mode is not bad at all. It's decent. It kind of, I think, slows down by at least half a second in eco mode from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Top speed should be around 180 kilometers per hour. It doesn't feel hairy at that speed anymore. Now I'm going to just shift and I'm going to get into comfort mode. Now the comfort mode is a good balance between eco and sport, where again we have a different map. I think it should be producing somewhere between how much the eco and the sport mode produces. Now we all know sport mode produces 140 horsepower, so it should be producing, I think, around 130, 125ish, and maybe eco must be producing around 110, 115 horsepower. So now in this mode, again, you can feel that the car feels a little smoother, because otherwise as soon as you get into sport mode, it becomes so aggressive in a good way for sure. In comfort mode, you'll get a good balance of performance as well as economy, and I think most people will be happy driving in this mode because, I mean, it doesn't feel like sluggish. Actually, it doesn't feel sluggish at all. It kind of feels slightly sluggish in eco mode. It doesn't feel sluggish at all in this mode. And then once you factor in that economy is also better than in sport mode, because in sport mode you're wringing out each and every drop of fuel, well, that affects the performance in a good way. But no, it affects the fuel economy in a bad way. Yeah, a little nosedive under heavy braking because of the soft suspension. Yes, the car is turned on, you can barely hear it. That is the level of refinement on offer from this TGDI motor, but the horn is also really nice. Taking a U-turn, cake walk, you don't feel the weight at all. And once you get on the gas, yeah, now I can feel that the shifts are taking longer because we are not in sport mode. So as soon as you get into sport mode, okay, you realize that the gearbox just feels a little bit more eager with downshifts. It also wants to hold on to a red line. It doesn't really hold on to a red line, it just shifts later. I mean, more, extracting more of the rev range. That said, these driving modes don't really alter the gearbox as such, because the focus is on the maps of the engine, how much amount of power and torque you're getting, along with the fact that the air conditioning performance also is moderated accordingly. So we're just going to get into sport mode right away and bang onto the gas. We are in sport mode, and there, the pull is really very nice. This engine is really very exciting. It's a massive smile on your face at every given moment, and then, you know, you can just upshift using the pedals. Here we are into 7. Now in 7th, around 3000 RPM, I realized that as soon as I get into the gas, obviously it's not going to downshift, but it has a nice and lateral pull too. Rather, linear is the word which you were searching for. It has a nice and linear pull, ensuring that whenever you need a quick overtake, you will get it, but it will not downshift now because I'm obviously controlling the gears using the steering mounted paddles. So now if you're not going to downshift, you have no right to upshift. Why do you upshift once I reach the red line? You shouldn't be doing that either, right? Here we are downshifting. Now here, see, it takes third to get past 100 kilometers per hour, but as soon as it hits the red line, it upshifts. Why are you upshifting? If you're not downshifting, you shouldn't be upshifting. It's like a weird relationship between the gearbox and the engine. They decide, you know what, if you want a downshift, I will not do it, but if you want a upshift, I will definitely do it. Here, I'm giving you an example. We are in 7th gear. Mash open the throttle. No, there is no shift happening right now. It should be downshifting. It's not doing, because it's saying, you know what, Faisal, you are such a charming guy. I'm going to give you complete control of things right now. But then I'm like, okay, that's so nice of you. Let me get into 3rd gear. Now I'm going to rev the nuts out of the motor. As soon as I cross the red line, it upshifts. अरे बॉस क्या हो क्या रहा है, थोड़ा तो हमें करने दो. Anyways, that said, there are 14 variants of the Hyundai Creta on offer, out of which 2 are for the turbo petrol. Unfortunately, we don't get a manual with the turbo petrol. We only get an automatic, which is a state-of-the-art DCT unit. So we've got 6 variants for the naturally aspirated petrol, and we've got 6 variants for the diesel as well. Now forget the diesel for a moment, because I honestly feel that's the most popular choice because of fuel economy as well as torque range. This car, specifically speaking, okay, cost around rupees 1.25 lakhs more than the non-turbo automatic variant. Yes, the non-turbo automatic happens to be a CVT, which Hyundai likes to call as the IVT. Okay, so the price difference happens to be around 1.25 lakhs. For extra 1.25 lakhs, not only you get a turbocharger in your engine and great performance as well, you also get a state-of-the-art DCT gearbox in front of a rubber band effect loving CVT gearbox. So I definitely feel that premium is worth it if you enjoy driving, that is. That said, you know, most people who want to buy a Creta and they don't have the budget, they're going to opt for the 1.5 petrol with a manual gearbox. So this particular variant is priced at rupees 20.3 lakhs. Yeah, 20.3 lakh rupees on road Mumbai. It is not the most expensive variant of the Hyundai Creta. The most expensive variant of the Hyundai Creta happens to be the diesel automatic, which is priced at a premium of 35,000 from this one, 20.7 lakhs. But okay, this is the SXO trim, which is the top end trim. The other trim which is available with the turbo petrol is the SX, which is priced at rupees 19.1 lakhs on road Mumbai. So as you can see, the turbo petrol Creta is the choice for enthusiasts because it has such punchy performance, and also I think it looks sportier thanks to all this. Only not on the outside. I don't know why that happened. Unfortunately, we should have got the same dual tone alloys because they look really nice. This one looks kind of bland. It looks like, you know, someone has done just one layer of makeup instead of two. When you know 2 layers of makeup works better, then why don't you do 2 layers of makeup? That said, the fuel tank capacity here is 50 liters, which is considerable and decent as well. And you know, I feel that the car feels so much better in terms of driving right now. It's not a sporty or a fun car in any sense whatsoever, but the ride quality is really very nice. And obviously the question is, how does it perform when compared to the Kia Seltos? Now the Seltos has a stiffer suspension which makes it uncomfortable, but it's better to drive because of the stiffness, and the steering also has a lot more feel. But remember one thing, the Seltos is not a sporty car either. The Seltos is better than the Creta in terms of driving feel, but it's not really a fun to drive car in any sense of imagination, which means that if you're looking to buy a fun to drive car, you're better off buying a Tata Harrier, which definitely has more feel and feedback than both these Korean siblings. But if you're looking for something which is comfortable, easier to drive, and certainly is fast in the straight, this Hyundai Creta Turbo Petrol is something which will put a massive smile on your face. And absolute kudos to Hyundai for launching so many turbo petrol versions of its cars, right from the Aura, the Grand i10 Neos, the Verna, the Venue, and the Creta as well. Love it, love the performance. This turbo petrol is so good and so rewarding. Every time you look at this, okay, the performance is dropping because I'm obviously lifted off, and there you see the speed is decreasing, and I get into the gas, the response is immediate. The turbocharger is like waiting. मुझे हवा दो, मैं spin मारता हूँ, तुम फट निकलोगे आगे, and that happens brilliantly because, you know, the turbo always loves to sing its song. So guys, this is my vlog of the Hyundai Creta Turbo Petrol. I think it's a fab car. It should come with a manual as well, and that would just be sensational in a different way altogether, because somehow a manual is a manual is a manual is a manual. Obviously a manual is not automatic. What are you talking, Faisal? Change your script right away. The paddle shifters are just so, you know, gimmicky because they don't really respond when you need it. I'm on a downshift. I'm not in the range to get a downshift. I'm not going to get a downshift. I'm just going to keep playing with these paddles like it's some fun game happening here. That's it, guys. If you like this vlog, you know what you have to do. Give it the thumbs up. That's the like button. If you didn't like this vlog, give it the thumbs down, which is the dislike button. But whatever, let me know your opinion, and do leave a comment below and subscribe to the channel, and घंटा बजाना बिल्कुल मत भूलना. Bye bye, take care.